So now here we go on these explosive new allegations rocking the campaign of Maine Senate candidate Graham Platner. Former girlfriend speaking out in a scathing report, now accusing him of physical and emotional abuse. And the question is to whether or not the Democrats will stand by him. All right, so good morning, everybody. Dana is out. She's back on Monday. I'm Bill Hemmer with my lilac colleague here on a Friday.
We coordinated today.
Yeah, nicely done.
Good to
Jackie.
be back with you.
Me too.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jackie Heinrich. This is America's Newsroom. Well, it's another day, another scandal. New York Times spoke with several exes who describe Graham Platner's behavior as occasionally, quote, toxic and unsettling. So those revelations, which Platner is pushing back against, comes as he continues to defend himself from other controversies. You got the Nazi tattoo, you got his mocking of a Purple Heart veteran, another comments that have drawn a lot of attention, all coming just days after he traveled to Washington, D.C. and reportedly assured top Democratic senators behind closed doors that no more shoes would drop. We have Fox team coverage. Kellyanne Conway is on deck with the political impact, but we begin in Bar Harbor, Maine, where Alexis McAdams is live with the details for us. Good morning, Alexis.
Good morning. Well, a beautiful day here in Maine where we are expecting to see Graham Platner later. But as you said, another day, another controversy. At this point, it's really almost hard to keep up. So the latest ones here are ex-girlfriends of Graham Platner speaking out to the New York Times, saying that he was volatile and toxic. One woman said that he twisted her arm, shoved her into a room, locked her in that bedroom, and said she couldn't come out until she had calmed down. Platner says, listen, these allegations aren't true, but I wasn't a good boyfriend. So let's get into it here as well. This is what he said.
There are some allegations in this piece that I just want to be kind of unequivocal about are simply not true. Anything alleging physicality, anything alleging that I knew what my tattoo was, these are the statements of someone who's politically motivated.
Well, Platner's talking about this chest tattoo. You've probably seen it by now. It's a skull and crossbones, and it's recognized as a Nazi symbol. He's had it for nearly 20 years, and then he covered it up. His ex-girlfriend, Lindsay Fifield, says Platner knew exactly what it was, said he even had a nickname for it. She says they dated for 2 years, and according to the New York Times, back in 2016, she wrote all about him in her diary. She said then, he's the most toxic, literally abusive man on earth who absolutely destroyed my life. Platner says she is politically motivated because she worked for Republican campaigns.
I do expect the Republican Party to fight as dirty as possible, and I expect them to try to create things. I expect them to try to drag stuff up consistently, but there won't be anything new. It's going to be a rehashing of essentially the same stuff.
Well, it wasn't all the same stuff. This came out too. Fifield says he repeatedly described violent sexual fantasies if someone ever broke into his house, saying if anybody ever broke in here, I'd rape them. I'd rape them to show them that I'm dominant. And add in a shirtless mirror selfie, if you can keep up here. That was Platner's profile picture on the hookup app Kick. People watching at home are saying, what is Kick? That's because a lot of people don't use it because it's been criticized for being a predator's paradise. But he says he wasn't talking to underage girls.
The people you were texting with, whatever that was, in whatever context, they were adult women, you knew that, and it was consensual. Is that true?
Yes.
And you have that you confirmed that, you knew their age?
Yes. Oh, God. I mean, yeah. Yes, of course.
Okay, so we'll see what else comes out because it seems like every time he says, hey, there's nothing else, there's another headline. Platner has a rally here in Bar Harbor, Maine tonight. He's going to be with Congressman Ro Khanna. Ro Khanna said to Fox yesterday with Martha that his red line would be if there was anything with domestic violence or any credible sexual assault allegations, but he's going to be up on stage with him tonight, according to Khanna's team, so we'll keep an eye on it.
Alexis, what is next? What could we be hearing from this woman who spoke with the New York Times?
Well, it's a good question. We'll have to see what's next. People are kind of bracing for that. There had been so many things swirling, Jackie, from sources here in Maine. I'm sure you had heard it too, that there was going to be this explosive piece in the Times. And the woman who spoke out, Fifield, said she had heard there was going to be other women's stories too. Read this. She posted this on X this morning, wondering where some of those stories were. She thinks that they were kind of taken out and the focus was just on her and about her Republican background. She said, after the story went up, I began to ask them, wait, where are the other stories from the other women? What are their accusations of sexual assault? Why am I the focus? Why are there 11 paragraphs dedicated to detailing my work history instead of talking all about everything else that was on there? So we're going to have to keep an eye on that and see what happens next. But it will be interesting to see what kind of support he has. From being here on the ground, I haven't seen too many Platner signs, but you know from being out here, Jackie, this is kind of like a vacation area, so maybe people just don't have their signs out in support of politicians here.
And it is the summer when a lot of tourists are there. Curious to know what you find on the ground there from locals. All right, Alexis, thank you so much.
So let's bring in Kellyanne Conway, former Trump campaign manager, now a Fox News contributor, among other things. And Kellyanne, good morning to you. It seems to be a daily ritual now where the Democratic lawmakers come out of the Capitol and they're asked about Graham Platner. This is how it went for Bernie Sanders and AOC on Thursday.
What's your response to this New York Times article on Graham Platner? Do you think he deserves to continue to be the Maine Senate nominee?
Oh, this all kind of just came out. I've been doing legislative business on the floor, so I need to dig into everything further before commenting on it. Yeah, because I think this reporting just recently came out, so I just want to make sure that I'm fully read up on it before I comment.
Okay, for the record, 2 days in a row, Bernie sticks by him. Ro Khanna is going to do an event, as Alexis just reported. AOC's comments are she's really riding that line and does not want to commit. There's a primary on Tuesday in the state of Maine, Kellyanne. Does he survive?
It is time for the Democrats to shuck the oyster man and let him heal his family. His digital footprint is disqualifying Bill, but also what exactly are his assets offline? What are his policy positions that align with Maine voters? And I think AOC, Bernie Sanders, Pocahontas, the whole crew, what happened to their three magic words, believe all women? That only applies when somebody is accusing a Republican official or candidate. Gosh, Al Franken was a sitting United States Senator in Minnesota when Kirsten Gillibrand and 7 other Democratic senators ran him out of town. Even before the ethics hearing could be completed, he said, "Can I please stay until the ethics investigation is completed?" He wasn't a candidate, he was a sitting senator. And the allegations were that he had made some sexual advances to some women, and most prominently, that he had mocked himself touching a woman on a military airplane returning from overseas. This is a party that led the charge in the Me Too movement, where if someone in the C-suite told a woman that's a pretty dress, they were out. Maybe just say thank you. If the C-suite misgendered someone whose name they probably didn't even know in their company, they were out. And fast forward, just a few months ago in Virginia, this party allowed to stay on the ballot and indeed elected as the Attorney General and Chief Law Enforcement in the Commonwealth of Virginia, a man who fantasized about the deaths of his political opponent's wife and children. So this is who the Democratic Party now is. I never want to hear again from them that they're the party of women. First, they're anti-worker. They're anti-Israel. They are absolutely anti-woman now. Kirsten Gillibrand ran for president, yes, of this country, easy to have forgotten, on a platform of female empowerment. She got 0 electoral votes in the Democratic primary, but she fancies herself some protector of women. Stand up, put up, show up, and speak up today and get this guy out of your party and out of politics.
Okay, we'll see if that happens. Sheldon Whitehouse, also Democratic senator out of Rhode Island, was quoted as saying the following with regard to the New York Times report. Put up on screen. It says, "Seems like a lot of nothing. I mean, the only one who had anything to say that seemed unsettling was a woman who works for right-wing political operations." Now, you go through this article, it's long. And I mean, you know, being in the business, it takes a long time to put this together. And so they did the work to contact these women. I don't know why 2 are identified as Democrats and 1 is identified as a Republican. I don't know, I mean, based on these allegations, what the politics have to do with the accusations, because if you read through it, all 3 of these women seem credible, notwithstanding any sort of political allegiance they may or may not hold. Last comment on that, Kellyanne, and we got to go.
Bill, the boorish behavior by Graham Platner against these women has no politics. It has no ideology, and it is pathetic and disgusting anybody would introduce that. These allegations are serious. The Democrats should say this guy's not worth it to us. And by the way, it takes a lot for these women to come forward against a whole political party that refuses to let this guy go. I give credit to these folks. I don't care if they vote and how they vote. It matters not to me. It's a lot for victims to come forward.
No doubt. Kellyanne, thank you. We'll see what holds today. Kellyanne Conway on the race in Maine, and Jackie's got more now. Thanks. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.